No pictures.
So everybody, last blog post, and we're going to do a review and congratulations.
Who you congratulated?
The other teams for awesome work that we feel was cool and or different related to GDC. So I think the first one I want to say is great job, Eskel, on your head tracking. Like, I think that is probably the best head tracking out of the whole competition. It looked really cool. Other than that, perhaps maybe worried on how many processor cycles it does for gaming.
It does, and I don't know this, but it does feel like it's probably got to be pretty processor intensive. And that makes me wonder if it's scalable, but I don't know. He may be able to trim that up a lot. And then I wanted to congratulate the Brass Monkey guys and Chris. Like, I saw your original post with regard to the shooting the Neckos and all that, but I had to really see it. And those guys are so cute, and the little flipping legs on the sheep and stuff. Like, it's an adorable game. And I mean, come on, laser beam eyeballs. I mean, the whole thing is just really fun. So I had a great time playing that at GDC. So, what did you guys think?
I really liked Chris's game that he made. That was really fun to play. I liked the way that the phone control worked.
Yeah. I never did get to see Giuseppe's, so I don't know if we just missed you. I know we saw you Giuseppe, but I don't think I ever got to see your app, and I really want to. So I love the idea of the clay and all that. I think that's a super cool concept. I just haven't had a chance to play, so forgive me if I don't get to congratulate you beyond saying thanks for seeing us next to the Unity booth.
I really enjoyed Sixth Sense, what you guys are doing with the sock puppet. I think that's, there's a lot there for unleashing creativity. Letting kids really just play and getting that kind of intuitive control over what's on the screen. I think that's really cool. So I like what you guys are doing there.
And then Lee, I had a hard time getting my head around, like, right up until I saw it, what Lee was really doing. I couldn't figure out like what the idea really was, but then when he demoed it on the floor there with the whole 3D teleconferencing thing, that was really much different than, I mean, really I didn't have much in mind at all. I couldn't get it, but that was really cool to see. And all the different details that you could put together with the mapping of your hand in 3D. Well, that was a cool way to use the mesh data. So that was neat. I think that all of us, though, one of the things that was especially cool about GDC was it didn't, frankly, feel like a competition. It felt way like a community.
Oh,
and
yeah.
everyone was sharing
Definitely.
ideas, and we were all trading code. Hey, did you see that? Did you do that? And that's the best thing in the world, where it's like kind of everyone's collaborating together. Everyone's tackled kind of different pieces, and I think that in the end, especially if I don't know about anybody else, but we're happy to share all the code that we made. That's just going to make the whole perceptual code base for the whole world better. And that's it's cool to be part of something really cutting edge, and that's just fun. Mm-hmm. So okay, all of the like little congratulations aside.
Yeah, niceties.
Yeah.
Over.
Now it comes down to business. So John, why don't you kind of give us a heads up on what you saw, and Gavin, some of the improvements that we're going to be implementing based on the feedback we got.
Obviously, we nixed eye tracking because it looks like everybody nixed eye tracking. I was like, it's the holy grail, and we all failed. But when we were first doing the testing and trying to get it to work, literally the Thursday before GDC, we had a product that we weren't very happy with because of the low resolution of the depth camera, made it so that our little target reticle on the game was just like the whole time. You're like, that just looks terrible. And on Friday, Gavin and I sat down. We actually found something to make it so when you're moving around, it just sits there with this smooth, wonderful targeting. And I think that was the biggest, coolest thing that happened. And it didn't actually cause any extra processor cycles. It was a little bit of memory. And, big O of 1, if anyone understands big O notation.
I have no idea what you just said, but it sounds important.
Well, the big thing that I got working Friday that made me feel a lot better was rigging up a feedback system of showing the player what the camera was actually seeing, so that you could, or so that I could, adjust my own behavior to get it to control Right. One thing I noticed a lot though on the floor was people. I mean, granted, the graphics that I was using for that was like I have 0 time to make anything, so I'm just gonna pull from here, 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 and here, and ended up using crosshairs. So people were assuming that what the position of the hand that the camera was seeing was where you should shoot, but they weren't seeing the little reticle that we have in the game world. And so when I came back, that was my first task, was to make the reticle brighter, better, different, more obvious. Change some of the graphics there. I think it looks way more visible now. I may want to go back and visit it later, maybe make it pulse or something, but it's already hugely improved. And I also changed the graphics for what the camera sees, and so now instead of these little like square and circle crosshairs, I actually have a head where the head is supposed to be, and I have a hand that's showing you what gesture it's currently recognizing. Now it only cycles through the 3 or so gestures that we currently recognize. But regardless, it shows you where your hand is and what it sees you doing, and it'll flash red with the new with our calibration gesture.
And that was actually one of the really neat things, was that especially on the floor, the thumbs up gesture became really difficult to recognize, and basically it's because you had to get it all lined up just right. And so we swapped out the thumbs for the peace sign, which was much easier to recognize. So the camera found that a lot better. Troy, tell me what you saw just from people demoing it and playing it. Like, what was the feedback from just kind of the random person walking by?
Some of the feedback that I got from that was that it was hard to see the reticle that was on the playing field where you're actually shooting at. I also got that they liked the motion, like John was talking about how it moves and it's steady and it's not all jittery. And I've seen like a lot of people like really like interested about the game and how it was working and the perceptual part of it, how they didn't have to touch anything. Like they were like in shock. They were shocked that they were being able to do this. Like this is like futuristic to them. So it's like cutting edge.
Nice. I know, and I don't remember who said this, and I don't remember where it came out, but there was this notion that we had maybe a difficult task in that we had an existing app and then we had to port a whole new control scheme over. But I think one of the really surprise moments in all this is that the result of that process turned out to be good for everybody. Like, it caused us to not only rethink the UI for Perceptual, but it caused us to rethink the UI for touch as well. And when we got back, the touch UI had been entirely reimagined, and it's way better.
Yeah.
It really forced us to think about it on a new way, and it turned out to be, it's going to make the mobile iPad version and Ultrabook version of the Touch app a much better game. And people were playing with we were using the 2 fingers as an aiming thing, and it'll shoot in between your fingers and zoom as you pinch. And it's a way better mechanism than we had before. And we wouldn't have done that if it hadn't been for Perceptual.
And it's so much more simpler too. I mean, just from the perspective of being able to hold your device in one hand and play with the other. You only need one hand to play. It's so much easier. And like describing it, everyone we described how to do it was like, really? That seems like, I don't know. But then as soon as they started, they're like, oh wow, this is just, it's natural.
It's super natural.
It's so, why did it take so long for this to happen?
Yeah, and I think that was a surprise for all of us, and we just never would have gone there. And so we won't get a chance to implement this in this build for the contest, but it also made us rethink the whole menu structure, and I think that's going to be a big improvement as well. So I think wrap up. This has been a super cool project for all of us. The community thing is always a hoot. So Bob and Wendy and the rest of the Intel team, you guys bring together some really fun, interesting people. And GDC was such a great way to everyone pony up and hang out and really share thoughts. But just technically, it was also a real challenge, and we learned a lot of really cool stuff. So is there anything else kind of that I missed? Anything?
I got engaged.
Woohoo!
Yeah!
Woo! That's a good thing to end on. We're done.
Oh, and yes, there is a wizard.
So signing off, this will be our last entry in the Perceptual Computing Ultimate Coder 2, and you can just send the check here.
Yep.
Yeah.